Welcome back to the channel. So it is time for a update. It's been a little bit of time since I've done one. There's been a lot going on the behind the scenes in the channel. We've also kick-started the channel again, which I tend to do as we get to this period in summer, and then we roll on through into the autumn. As you can see there, we've got the Tiger. So I've done the initial painting on that. And now I've got to do a little bit more. I've been waiting a long time to do this because I've had a whole load of stuff that needed to be painted in here, and this is coming off the back of a weekend now, so I've just had the chance to get it all done, and that's cleared the bench back to now focus on the Tiger. And I've even got the little figure of Otto in there. I spent yesterday evening painting that. Wasn't particularly impressed with the sculpt, I've got to be honest. I put quite a lot of work into it, and I did feel like come the end I'd put a lot of time into a sculpt that probably wasn't worth it, and that was especially noticeable when I got to the face. Now obviously if you're a figure painter, you'd be able to paint you very well. You don't necessarily need a good sculpt. A good sculpt just makes it easier. Think of it like if you got a blank piece of paper, you could make a masterpiece, but most of us can't. If there was a drawing there and we just had to colour it in, it's a lot easier. So that's kind of the principle I think of when I'm thinking of figures. If all the definition is there, all you've really got to do is just sketch around it and it will look good. I was doing the same techniques to some small, brand new, actually 2024 Warhammer figures, so they were really detailed, and I did the same technique on both figures. The Warhammer figures look brilliant, the face looks all defined, and it's like a shouting face, so it's all, you got the bits of the face there and across there, it's all looking very good. And Otto is just like a smooth like, pink face. But anyway, I didn't want to waste it. I could obviously swap the head. I've got loads of hornet heads, which for that reason, much more pronounced features, is a lot easier to paint it in. But we'll see how we go. I might spend probably another hour on the actual figure, try and shade in some of the uniform itself, and then I'll decide if I want to change the figure. But I actually quite like it having reasonable likeness to Otto Carius. So that's the progress on that one. Next up, I'm just going to go over it with a little bit of advice from a friend on trying to paint up, break up the Dunkelgelb, and then I'm going to put the camouflage on there as well. So that will get that sorted. I've got a number of ideas and a number of things to talk about, so I'll probably do it in this format. I've got quite a lot of topic videos where I just like to sit here really and ramble on. But I think they'll be interesting, so there'll be a couple of them coming down the line. Now, just out of shot, there's just literally here, you can see the edges of the white boxes there. This is a whole load of nostalgic figure sets. So we've got 1995. Note the prices on this, by the way. 1995 release. 1995 release. If you don't know, if you're ever looking at Tamiya boxes and you want to know if it's new or old, just above there, that little black line there that's not very focused is a date. So you can always tell how new your model is. British Infantry figures, a classic box again. This is a bit newer, I think. Yes, 1998. Wonderful stuff. Another classic. And this one's 1994. And then we've got Fuel Drums. 1995. However, I thought these were, maybe I've got that wrong. I thought there's newer and older. Yeah, actually, for 1994, these are pretty good. They've got the stamps on them and everything. So these are the newer ones. There's some real ultra basic ones from much earlier. They're not so good. These are all right. You can chuck these on the back of quite a modern kit, and they'll look fine. The reason I've got these, and they've all got the same sticker on them, is a shop opened up in Crewkerne. That shop happened to be a model shop. I live in Crewkerne. That's where the model shop is. So I've spent a lot of time going to that model shop. It's very well stocked, small model shop, small selection. Quite like it, the fact it's focused. It's not like a wall of Tamiya. It's a focused, nice range of kits that are classics, good prices. I just like getting them. So I'm thinking about figures all the time, and that's we can have a little bit of a discussion here on this. And this is one of the topics I want to pick up in another video. Is from now on, I'm going to I'll hold myself to this. I'm going to add a figure and base every build I do from now on. I'm going to stick to that. I've wanted to do it for years. I've seen some old videos as well where I'm talking about how Steven Zaloga presents his models even now, but you know, more around the sort of 2005 onward period. And there's multiple modelers that do the same thing. It just makes the model look far better, far more interesting. Adding a figure gives you scale. So that's for aircraft, tanks, vehicles, anything I do, I'm going to really strive to do that. I've been trying to do it in the past for a long time, and the reason is, and we can actually see here, there's a bit of Shelf of Doom here, but I think this is hiding a model that I'm really keen to show you all. So can you see it? Let me see. No. So just here, sorry, there. That's the only clue you've got of what I've built. But I will show you this. Speaking of figures, I got an Alpine figure a long time ago. Now it's about a year, not quite a year ago. Lovely figure, and this is a US tanker with Tommy gun. And I felt like he fitted very nicely in a Pacific theatre. Have I shared a model in the past that I said I wanted to build, and does it look a little bit like that at the front, and would it be in the Pacific? Well, who knows. I'm just waiting to work out how to build a palm tree, and then we can bring that to the base. So I started this idea a long time ago, and I'm trying to move on with it. There's a number of things that have happened up to this point. I even took a break really from modelling, and again, guess what, there'll be another video on that for about nearly 6 months. I just focused on my other hobby, which is Warhammer. So it's certainly easy to buy Warhammer, I'll tell you that. Too easy. So I went on just really sitting in front of the TV with whatever I was watching and just putting together some figures. So I've built through, if you know anything about it, a number of box sets and combat patrols and stuff like that. Just built them up. I haven't painted a whole lot. I have painted some squads, but so that gave me time just to think about what I want to do, and I'd come out of the idea of wanting to do that and not really managing it, and there being deadlines and there being all sorts of problems that were kind of adding pressure that you don't need if you're trying to have a hobby. And that just coincided with me slightly losing interest and thinking, right, the best thing to do is just stop for a minute. And then when you come back, you're refreshed, you've got a better plan, and now I've pushed through a load of projects that I'd really all got to a point. I've all gotten to basically what the painting stage is, or the weathering stage, or whatever it is that was stopping me on each part of the build. I'd got them to that and really just thought, well, I just can't really bring myself to pick it up. But I've now done all of that and moved it all. So there's a whole load, there's about, I think there's 5 tanks and a couple of aircraft now that are all approaching the weathering stage. And that's on purpose. That's not because I'm scared of the weathering or I don't want to do it. It's because that's a systematical approach for me. Then it works quite well, and then I can bring it all in here, get it on the bench, and then I'm in the weathering stage. So this will all get quite messy, but I can weather through all the processes, do groundwork together, and it doesn't mean I'm gonna, get all the bases done on the same day. It just means if the ground works out, I've done a little bit of it, that worked on one base, I want to bring that into another base and think about how I want to do that. So we're not really talking about dioramas, but we're talking more about like vignettes or just basing models. Very much for aircraft as well. Something I wanted to do for a long time, just not managed to do it. So I think that'll be interesting, and I'm really going to stick to that. So with figures, going right back round to what I was talking about 4 minutes ago, the old figures, I want to do a little bit of a retro painting, really. I've just been talking about the sculpts, but funny enough, this is one of the 90s sculpts. Again, this is a German tanker. Now, the detail, if anything, there's almost too much detail. It's a bit like overemphasized. But that's great because there's recessed lines on all the stitching. I just had no idea it was that good. The hands are a little bit big and the head's a bit big, but that's where we use other heads. I dropped it as I turned the camera on. I was messing around. Got this pristine Tiger that I've been really happy about. I've been blowing the dust off it, washing the bloody model every time I go to, and then I twisted this and that shroud fell off and just caught the edge. Thankfully it's chipped the Zimmer, which I can obviously make use of, but typical. But with that it smashed this figure into pieces, but it was fine, nothing's broken. So I've got a Hornet head there. I just won't be able to, it won't pick it up at all. But anyway, I've done a video on it. So when you change the heads out, give it a head swap, it's much better. Interestingly, I sprayed this with Tamiya green, olive green, and I've painted this with a diluted black oil paint, just to kind of try some different ideas. And this is oil paint. It's not rubbing off. It's on there. It's bitten in. I probably shouldn't say that because I've had annoying comments. It's adhered to the paint below it, and I'm quite happy with it. And then I think, now I don't know what benefit this gives me, maybe none, because if I want to use oils on the top of it, it's going to be a bit of a problem. But it's just trying out ideas because I've got so many figures, I can just paint them up, and I'm saving myself for, if we use the dates on the side of the box. This is a 2019 set, and I've got a 2023 set from Tamiya, very good. The Alpine figures, very good. So they're what you want to build up to and sort of try your best on. I wouldn't usually agree with that idea that you want to save yourself for, you want to save your best model for when you're good enough. But I think with figures, especially when like an Alpine figure's £15, if you're going to try, it's probably better to rinse through sort of a £6 set of figures just to try techniques where you can actually try and paint in some of the detail. It's very different to a model because all you got to do is clean the seam lines, glue the arms together. If this was a 1970s kit of a Tiger, it's a long way from opening the box to getting to the point of where you want to try out some weathering techniques. That's the problem why we don't tend to do that with kits as much. But I just certainly think with figures, it's worth sort of honing your skills on some older models, but good sculpts, because otherwise you're just going to be making life harder for yourself. So if I actually now focus myself and get on topic. So model shops opened up in Crewcon, called Crewcon Models, mainly very focused on being a model shop that you go to, bricks and mortar. It's not really about a website or anything like that. So if you're driving through Crewcon, it's one to pull into. But obviously for the local area, it's brilliant. I certainly have spent some money there. I don't think that's any bad thing. You know, supporting the local shop. That's a good thing. And that's some great stuff. I mean, I've ordered the Bristol Bulldog, Airfix Bristol Bulldog to come through him. He had a BA6 armoured car in it, yes, with Spanish Civil War markings on the side. So, hey, you know, we'll have that as well. Very easy to... I try not to go in there once every 2 weeks, then that's fine. I have been buying some cars. Now. I will put that out to you lot. Let's see, I might even put a poll out. I haven't done a poll for a long time. I have bought these for myself. This was really just for me to... I like the idea of trying to get the smoothness because what I really love doing is building a model ready for weathering. And then when I get to the weathering stage, I think, it's not that I don't dislike it, it's just, and I try my best not to make it a barrier, but I like the pristine finish of a model. I don't know why. So with cars, I can get away with that. I know this is a rally car, and I know I could make it filthy, but I could also make it like it's just come out of a showroom, and that's the idea that I kind of like, and you can get away with it, whereas a Sherman tank doesn't look very good if you don't put any weathering on it. So that scratches that itch, if it were. Now, the question is, how many of you out there would want to see this on the channel? I've always been a little bit conscious of my channel's kind of got it's planes and tanks, and it's mainly from Second World War back to the First World War. I haven't done a jet. I still don't intend to do a jet for a long time. I haven't done anything modern really. So would you be interested in it? That's the first thing. Long way off, it's as and when, but it's of interest. Now, because of that, I've got this Tamiya paint stand because it's got this car thing, and I am eager to do one. But this paint stand, man, I don't know why I didn't get it ages ago. I don't know why it's taken me so long. This is the only car bit that you get, and even it's only a car because you can put the shell on like that, and you can tape it. There's like as you can see, so you can spread these apart, and then you tape the body on there. So obviously that's very good for cars. God blimey, this thing. Oh, should I show you these? Well, let's just pretend you haven't seen these. Don't go asking for where's the diorama for the Goliaths for a long time. But this turntable, oh, it's great. I want to get more clips. I want to get another 4 clips. I've been using this all weekend. I've sprayed up so many little things. It's so useful. It's about 20 quid. It's Tamiya. It's been out for like 20 years. I have no idea why I don't have one. I highly recommend you go and get one. It's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Really, really impressed by it. So that's good. So yeah, sport cars and more models. What's new? That's happened. I've got a whole list of models that I want to do now going forward. Now there is something going on in the background. My most ambitious project ever. I've sort of been putting this off because I thought we might have been able to talk about it, but not quite yet. If I was to spin the camera around, you'd very much know what that project is, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to pretend like this room is exactly like it's always been for the last 5 years and not completely different behind the camera, but it is completely different behind the camera. And I've managed to keep this little corner of the room, and this desk, hang on, that way, ends about there. And I used to have another desk in here, but I don't anymore. Anyway, I hope to bring you an update on that at some point. That will disturb what's going forward, but I don't expect it to really cause much of a problem. I've got some stuff filmed ahead because I'm taking a little break, and then we'll see where we get to from there. So lots going on in the background, lots of interesting stuff as well. There are planes, there are tanks, there are vehicles, there are vignettes, there are dioramas, and there are figures all coming along. All of these things are in process with, yeah, they're definitely going to be finished. It's just how long it takes. So stay tuned to the channel for that. That's going to be of interest. Now, I've got another thing for you tank guys. I think I may have shown this in the past, but it's got a bit dusty. So this is what I mean. Like this for me, this is, I love this like this. I think, oh man, yeah, just keep it like that. But we can't. Modelling's moved on and weathering's moved on, and we should embrace it. So that's what I'm doing here. This here is the Tamiya M4 Sherman, the straight up M4 Sherman, built from the box with all of its accuracies and lack thereof added in. It has got the sand shields on. It is an Italian version, well, Italian front version, and this is going to have all the figures put in. It's got all the stowage done. It's all painted up. It's ready to go. It just needs weathering. I'm going to weather it with 3 products. And this here is an addition to my Panzer II F video that I did like 3 years ago of a beginner's guide to modelling. So the beginner's guide to armor modelling that I did a long time ago. I put these 2 here. Hopefully they don't start fighting. I think they'll look after themselves. They should be alright. That's going to now have a little bit of a revamp, and it's going to continue. I'm going to build through probably just sticking with Tamiya, because I think that's best. If you're going to start modelling, start with Tamiya and you won't have any problems. I'm going to do some of the classic kits linked with some of these figures. So the fact that I've got the engine set and the loading set, that's going in the Tamiya Tiger. I'm going to build the Tamiya Tiger, and I'm going to try my very best to not do anything to it. I'm going to build it out of the box to show you that as much as I love everything that's right and wrong with Tiger kits and fixing everything that's right and wrong with Tiger kits, you can also build one straight from the box, a classic kit. It's not really worthy of updating because there's so many better kits these days, unless you want to, and obviously you can put a metal barrel in there, photo etch set, metal tracks, everything. You can do everything you want, but I'm going to build it straight out of the box with the tank loading crew, with the engine maintenance crew, in a tiny little scene. Again, honing those basic skills. So if anyone's followed me this far along for from the basic, hang on, beginner's guide to armor modeling. That is now gonna, it's already been continuing anyway. Everything I do in the armor point of view is still sort of pushing that concept all the way along, but I'm going to focus on the original concept, which was you've gone to Hobbycraft, you've gone to Hobby Lobby, you've picked up this Tiger Tamiya kit that you saw when you were 15, and you've taken it home to build it, you've put it up on the internet, and someone said there weren't any grey tigers. So we're going to battle against that. However, I'm not going to paint the tiger grey. I'm drawing a line at that. Although there were grey tigers, we're not getting into that. We're going to carry that on through. So this one is a huge build. I don't know how I'm going to present it yet. I'm already at, even with the footage cut down, I'm over an hour. So I think I'm going to have to do build, paint, weathering, and then basing. I've done a little bit more on this as well. I was actually impressed myself what you can achieve just by using simple techniques. This is Tamiya olive drab and whatever colour it was. I think it might have even been XF59, like the desert yellow colour. It just looked absolutely bang on. It was the painting techniques. I've done streaking, I've done misting over, I've done sort of filters just with an airbrush. Anyone can do it. I'm not very good with an airbrush. You don't need to be very good with an airbrush to achieve the same results. So it looks brilliant as it is, and it's not going to, and if I do say so myself, it's not going to take too many products. I'm just going to use 3 enamel washes. Sorry, 2 enamel washes and 1 enamel sort of pigment, you know, like a dust, one of the dust washes. And I think we could have some really good fun with it. So it's, hopefully that's of interest. I've been asked many times about doing the same thing with aircraft, and I am thinking about it. Just don't know how to approach it yet. There's plenty on, so as and when, again, I am trying to bring some aircraft back to a kind of basic idea, like this is it out of the box. Try not to put stuff into kits all the time, as well as having kind of big mammoth builds. So this is what's been going on in the background. Been thinking about it a lot, really enjoying my time in the hobby. Been fully back doing it for about 2 months now. That's scale modeling, not putting figures together. I've still been cutting plastic all the way through, as I always will be, but I find it very interesting, and I find it, thinking about modeling, quite therapeutic, and I'm surprised how deep it can go, actually. I'm always surprised by it. I guess any hobby's the same. You know, if you're into bird watching or you're into fishing or anything like that, you can just go, I'm going to go and do that, and then I'm going to go home in the car and I'm not going to think about it. Or you could spend 2 weeks thinking about the trip you've got coming up, the thing you're going to do, how you're going to approach it, what you might see, what you might find, what you might do. And it's the same with modelling as well. And I really do find it an enjoyable experience, thinking about projects, working through. It can feel like a bit of a grind sometimes, but you've got to strive to see it as a really positive thing rather than a pressure. There's no need. Even me, I make videos and I've got all these stupid deadlines in my head, but it doesn't. I've learned by not telling you what's coming, it doesn't actually matter how long it takes. When it's released, you know, that's it. That stops that pressure, and it brings the fun in and the kind of depth that some of these projects have, and the interest that you can get and the history behind it. It's a very rewarding hobby. So I'm trying to utilize that point, and it helps with, you know, all the day-to-day things, you know, like if work's stressful, if you've got something that's annoying you, you know, come in here and paint a figure for an hour and you forget all about it. So it's a very useful hobby, and I'm very thankful to be back doing it. I'm actually thankful for the break, I've got to be honest. And like I said, we're going to that but that's outside things. Actually, the modelling has always been the good thing. What it is shows and commitments and things you're going to do and all this, that and everything else, just taking too much on, that made it not about modelling. So Yes, I think that's going to get us to about 20 minutes, hopefully, not much longer. So, anyway, I've already talked about a lot that's going on, but it's been a nice little ramble, I think, and there's going to be a few more of these, so hopefully you'll find them enjoyable. Some of them will interject from build videos. The build videos have come along. There's just videos that's going to release as we go on forward. I don't intend to let that stop. I've got a few reviews as well for those of you who like them. But I do want to do quite a few sort of talking head videos. Some of it showing you what I've got here. I'm going to have a little tour around and talk about the stash as it is. Also talking about some of the tools I use. Some of the I've got the most precious thing in the UK, it seems. In my absence, it turns out that this has totally vanished from the shores of the UK. Thankfully, I got 2 bottles. I bought them last year, so that was useful. So buy your Mr. Leveling Thinners in bulk when you get the chance. That's one piece of advice you can have. Yeah, I've found I've got a lot of topics. I've got a lot of things to say, and namely, one thing that was really bringing me down was 2 massive, great, big 3D printers that were in this space, which meant I couldn't do any of this. So they're not there anymore. So knowing when something's not working as well, and that's all part of it. So anyway, we won't go into that now. We'll talk about that in another video. I hope you enjoyed this. If you haven't already and you just come across this video, well, hit the subscribe button and follow along this little journey that we're having with scale modeling. And as always, thanks for watching. Stay tuned. I'll see you in the next video.